Hello, second graders. Welcome to Writing with me, Miss Taylor. I'm glad you're here. All right, so let's get started. We know that when we do writing, our goal is to write complete sentence answers using words from the question. So we have been doing a really nice job lately on writing nice, complete sentence answers. So great job. We're going to keep working on that. Some things to remember. We're going to remember to find the correct answer in the text. So, kind of finding that text evidence to support our answers. We're also going to remember to include the 5 parts of a sentence. So, we're going to remember a subject, a verb, that it makes complete sense, that it has a capital letter and an end mark too. And of course, we're going to write neatly and carefully. So, let's get started. For today, of course, you will need your writing packet. And we are going to look at page 10 today. So, page 10 in our packets. It is about hurricanes. Ooh. Ooh. Do we have hurricanes here in Minnesota? No, we don't. Why don't we have hurricanes in Minnesota? Yeah, we don't live by the ocean, do we? All right. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to read the passage first, and then we're going to go back and read our questions and try to find our text evidence. So first, let's go ahead and read our text, our paragraph for today. So today is Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Please follow along and track with me in your packet. Most hurricanes form over tropical oceans. Tropical, that means like warm areas, tropical oceans. Usually within 1,000 miles of the equator. Ooh. And we know the equator is that kind of imaginary line in the middle of the earth. It's kind of like if the belt, if the earth were wearing a belt. They're called hurricanes when they form in the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, or the Caribbean Sea. And this one you could say Caribbean or Caribbean Sea. But those that form in the western part of the North Pacific Ocean near China and Japan are called typhoons. Yeah, actually, Miss Taylor, I spent some time living in Taiwan, and sometimes we would have typhoons, and it would just be really windy, actually, where I lived. And um, sometimes we would have a day off of school because it was a typhoon day. And no one really ever got hurt while I was there, but it was just really windy and people were supposed to stay inside. It's kind of like in Minnesota. Sometimes we have a snow day. In Taiwan, they had typhoon days. In the Bay of Bengal and the northern Indian Ocean, people say they're cyclones. So another name for hurricanes. And in the Pacific Ocean around Australia, the same storms have a funny name. Willy Willies. That's a fun name. Oh, there's a Willy Willy out in the ocean. All right, so we read our passage, we read our text. It's kind of like one long paragraph, isn't it? About hurricanes. Now, the next thing we're going to do is read a question, and we're going to find our text evidence, and then we'll read our other question, and we'll find the other text evidence. So I'm going to get a color to use, and you can go ahead, you can circle number 1, or you can underline it. I kind of like to underline it, or you could do both. You could circle it and underline it. So I'm going to use orange. You can use whichever color you'd like. Where do hurricanes usually form? They usually form. Well, let's go back to our text and let's try to find the evidence. Let's try to find our answer in the paragraph. So think about, do I hear the answer? Where do hurricanes usually form? Most hurricanes form, hey, same word, over tropical oceans, usually within 1,000 miles of the equator. Yeah, and there is our answer. Wow, the very first sentence. So it talks about where do hurricanes form, and they form over tropical oceans, and tropical is like places where it's warmer. So I'm going to use my same color, and I'm going to highlight my text evidence. And if you wanted to, you could, this whole thing kind of tells about where, but especially here, doesn't it? All right, so let's try to turn our question into an answer sentence. And how we do that is, first of all, we think about, well, if the question is, where do hurricanes usually form? Oh, and I should mention right now, you should be using a pencil to write our answers here. So some people last time used a marker or a crayon. It was kind of hard to read. So please make sure here you're using pencil. Where do hurricanes usually form? So let's cross off our question words. Where is a question word? Let's see, are we going to use this word do? Do, it kind of still sounds like a question, doesn't it? Can we start here? Hurricanes usually form, yeah. So we can start here with our sentence, and using our pencil, I'm going to use a capital H, of course, and I like to double underline it to make sure I've got my capital letter. I'm going to look up here to see how to spell the word hurricanes. So that's two R's. So making sure we're spelling the words correctly that are right here in the sentence. Hurricanes usually form, and then we found our text evidence is over here. Most hurricanes form over tropical oceans. So you could write, hurricanes usually form over tropical oceans, period. And that would be just fine. Or you could write this whole kind of piece of information here. Hurricanes usually form over tropical oceans within 1,000 miles of the equator. So I will let you choose if you want to write this whole thing or just that they form over tropical oceans. But remember a period. Remember an end mark when you finish. So wherever you finish, you're going to put an end mark. I saw last time Ms. Schultz put one way down here. Now, and if your whole sentence goes way down there, that's great, but it might not. So if yours does, perfect. But otherwise, you could have it right where it ends. All right, let's go to our next question. I'm going to use a different color to circle or underline. And this one says, what are some other names for hurricanes? Yeah, inside this text, this paragraph had several different names. So we are going to be doing some highlighting of the different names of hurricanes. All right. Let's see. So we already read this sentence. They're called hurricanes, which we know, when they form in the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, or the Caribbean Sea. But those that form in the western part of the North Pacific Ocean near China and Japan are called typhoons. So we can use that same color to underline that word. In the Bay of Bengal and the northern Indian Ocean, people say they're cyclones. And in the Pacific Ocean around Australia, this is the funny one, the same storms have a funny name. Willy Willies. How fun. Willy Willies. All right, so using our pencil again, we're going to go back and try to see if we can make this into an answer sentence, trying to use as many words as we can. And we start by crossing off our question word. So let's see, what are some other names for hurricanes? Cross off our question word, what? Let's see, are we going to use this word are? Well, we probably won't start with this word, are, because that still sounds like a question. But can we start with this word? Some other names for hurricanes, we can fit that word in there, are typhoons, cyclones, and Willy Willies. All right, so I'm not going to cross this one off because I think we can still use that word are, but we want to start with this word some, and I'm going to double underline my capital letter. Some other names, trying to write neatly and spell my words correctly. Some other names for, and especially be careful of this word, hurricanes, has two R's. There we go. Some other names for hurricanes are, oh, now we've used all these. Some other names for hurricanes are, you have typhoons, cyclones, and willy willies. So I'm going to help you get started. I'm going to do blank, blank, and blank. And there's our end mark. All right, because we have three different names for hurricanes. Well, they're called hurricanes, but they're also called typhoons, cyclones, and willy willies. So what you're going to do is finish this sentence, making sure that you have your capital letter and your end mark, that you're writing neatly, and that you've spelled the words correctly. So if the words are on the paper, they should be spelled correctly. It's kind of a really good habit to form by paying attention to the spelling of things. All right, so once again, we'll take a look at our goals for today. So our goal is to write complete sentence answers using words from the question. I think we've done a fabulous job with that today. So we have remembered to find the correct answer in the text, to include the 5 parts of a complete sentence, to write neatly and carefully. Yeah. So, second graders, what you're going to do is you are going to complete number 1 and number 2, making sure you've got your capital letters and end marks, and then you're going to take a picture of your amazing writing work and send it to your teachers. Have a wonderful rest of the day, scholars. See you again soon.